what I achieved in the first few years in Kenya, I didn't achieve in all my 10 years in the States.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today, you guys, on Diversified Game, I'm bringing somebody out who I found in this book right here, page 107. She is mentioned, and she is Suzie Wokabi, who runs Suzie Beauty. Now, this book right here says her business went from zero to over $1 million. They tell all your business in the books.
I don't even know that book. Oh my gosh, Kellen. Wow.
Welcome, and you don't know the book. That's amazing.
Oh, that's kind of crazy. Okay, awesome. Good vibes. Good vibes.
Yes, and so Suzie, you own Kenya's first, beauty line. I want you to talk about that because people say no, but Kenya has been beautiful, and my grandmother used to put, Vaseline or whatever on my face, and
Yes.
on the record, you are the first. Talk about your company and give a brief introduction, please.
Sure, sure. So I'll explain why I can claim first beauty brand. But I was actually in the US for about 10 years after college. Came back home in 2007 to work as a media makeup artist. Um, because I love beauty. I'm obsessed with beauty products also. And I came home with a big fat suitcase full of product to work in the media makeup industry. And at that time, the industry was very infantile, very small. Very few make professional makeup artists. So it was very easy to hit the ground running, which I did. Coming into, a few months into it, I've run out of product to use on the job because I don't know, where do I replenish this? Where do people buy makeup? I forgot. Like, I haven't been around for 10 years. And, go to that beauty shop or that pharmacy. Products that I was finding there were just ridiculous. Like, first, not for us, not for the African skin tones. Secondly, completely overpriced. What I would buy in the US for $20 was the equivalent of about $100. So completely unsustainable. And not only, yeah, for my work and for my personal use. So I figured that I'm not the only one suffering. So I decided to make my own. But apparently, this has always sort of been at the back of my mind. So my friends tell me, they're like, no, you always said you're going to have your own brand one day. So I started creating the product. It was a 3 year process because year one I did a lot of research and development and brand building. Like I knew I didn't want to. I could have just called another company and been like, let me import your product and then have it here. But I didn't want to do that. Also, I had a good enough reputation in the industry where people would trust me. If I'm creating a product, they will use it. There was a time that there was a lot of Kenyans only prefer international products, like in general. So how are you going to even market this? I'm like, they're going to buy it because it's Kenyan. So created by an African woman for the African woman. And another promise of my brand is high quality affordability. So that's what I was creating. And then by year two, I had a product line that I was testing on everyone who would sit in my makeup chair for people, but nobody suffered in the process. I tested mostly on myself also. And year three was fundraising because I needed to contract had ever done it before. What makes it Kenya's first beauty brand? Yes, Planet, and got the product here and launched finally. And so we we'd been in the market since 2012. So now, I went through the process of just like learning a lot on the job, even just like learning how the industry works. And as a pioneer brand, there was nothing to benchmark against. So I was also like paving the way in many ways. And yeah, just like hustle through that. Needed some strategic partners by the time 2015 came along, just to help me elevate the brand and stop, like we'd plateaued because with our, and I say our, my husband is my co-founder, like with our abilities and capabilities and resources, we were kind of strapped. And so I needed somebody really strong. And so we found somebody who was interested in the brand and but they wanted a full acquisition of the brand, because it's a group company that has many brands under the group. So after we signed on, and so it's called the Flame Tree Group, and they acquired Suzie Beauty. And I say they also acquired me because since then I've been running the brand under the group. So my title is founder and chief creative officer and brand ambassador. So but then I always say, I'm like, it's so amazing that I get to do what I wanted to do in from the beginning. I'm creative. Running a business was never comfortable for me. I'd never planned to even ever run a business. So
Mm.
learning like finance and legal and the investments and like dealing with HR, none of that. Like I didn't want, and then my title was CEO. I'm like, what does a CEO even do? No. But I had to, we couldn't afford to hire a CEO, could we? So I
Well,
had to have that.
somebody will hear this, and you make that flow sound so smooth of a transition.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
also want to let people know, in case there is any reverb or anything in the line, catch most of what we are saying, just in case, because
Yeah,
everybody is using these platforms. Just a warning. But 15 years ago, we would not have been able to do this. So I never try to complain.
absolutely.
Catch the bits and pieces. But the what I want to know is, you 3 years just to create this product.
Yes.
Mentally stay in the game, because so many entrepreneurs would say it's going to take me 3 years just to get a concept ready to sell, and then I'm going to probably have
Oh,
to.
no, no, no.
Huh?
Oh, trust. Listen, I, lo- I often visit my very first business plan just to giggle, because what I had in mind is that within 9 months, everything will be done. I will launch with a very fancy event with all the important people, and it's going to be so fun. And then we'll put the product in the market, and then we'll be done. That's the optimism of an entrepreneur, I guess. And no, multiply that into 3 years. So completely thrown off.
Wow.
And, but still, like, at least I was still doing my makeup artistry inside of there. So I still had, sustainability and still keeping creative and keeping active. And, but as much as like it was so bad when I'm like, so my first interview in media here locally was in September 2009. I didn't even have product yet. I didn't have that product line done. And they're like, Suzie Wokabi is going to give us a product. And it's in the main newspaper, like da da da. So throughout the time that I'm like, I'm like, wait, hang on, hang on. And it was like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And I'm like, soon, just soon, soon. So yeah, all sorts of ups and downs. Oh, ups and downs started from day one.
Wow. Now, with that, were you already married when you started this company?
Yes. So we were in the States together, came back home in 2007. got married in 2008, and started the business in 2009, because we're crazy, and then also started reproducing children. So we have two sons also. So even like my trips to the factories that we're going to, I'm like 6 months pregnant, like just playing with, like making sure the product is right. So no, the full on hustle. We did everything together, like at the same time, like get married, start a family, start a business. What? Wow. Yeah, yeah.
You got
So
married
we
the
learned.
same year my wife and I got married. So congratulations on your longevity. Um,
Yes.
what
Thank
what
you.
what made you go back to Kenya? And do you think you could have started this business in America, or was this something that could only have won in Kenya? And I always tell people, it's so much easier a lot of times to start something outside of America because you need 10 different licenses just to braid hair, right? So, you,
So, such
yeah.
a good question. Such a good question. One, I came there for school and stayed on for 9 extra years. Um, so I have a degree in international relations, which I never did anything with, but I went to work in fashion and beauty thereafter. But coming home was never an op, like it was always the plan. Like coming back home at some point was always a plan. So that wasn't a sudden, like, whoa, I've been swooped into coming back home decision. No, it was always part of the plan. I didn't know when. And then my now husband, then boyfriend, we met in 2006, and he was working for AIG, and for whatever great grand reason, they transferred him to the Kenya office. So he's like, "Are you coming?" I'm like, "Of course." So now I'm like now thinking, okay, how am I gonna do this? Like, what am I gonna do when I get there? How am I gonna get this done? So that's when I started compiling all my beauty stuff. I'm like, I know for sure I want to go work as a media makeup artist. Took a trip home before actually, fully moving. Met all the media houses, the magazines, like the, newspapers, the TV stations, filmmakers, all of them. I'm like, hi, I'm moving back home. I'm moving back home soon. I'm going to come and work. Here's my portfolio. So came hit the ground running. So no, and also what I achieved in the first few years in Kenya, I didn't achieve in all my 10 years in the States.
Can you talk more about that? Because was it just easier to get in contact with the people, the movers and the shakers who actually need to hire you?
Most likely that's the first point, is that it was, I knew some people, and then people introduced me to another person, and then we make the contacts that way. It's a lot of word of mouth. In the States, when I was working, I was freelancing as a makeup artist. I I remember there was a time that I was trying to apprentice under a superstar professional artist, and I was, I think I was like for free, also for free. I was like 100 in the list, like for like wait till 100 people have like finished. So it's too cutthroat. It's way too cutthroat there. Here, like I said, infantile industry. I could have brought. I did bring what I learned there here that they didn't have and didn't know.
No, that's beautiful because so many folks. My wife is from Cameroon, and
Oh,
I always hear, Africans, I'm going to go back home. I'm going to go back home. And you
yeah,
see, they never even go visit. And you're like,
ah,
I'm going to go back home. And I have folks tell me from all over, you go to Africa more than I do. And I'm saying, well, tickets are cheaper than ever during COVID. Buy them now so you can use them later. Did you not did you not feel you were leaving the greatest country ever in the world Um,
Absolutely not. It is so funny. No, I was so ready to be done with that. Because I'd milked it for what it was worth. And then being back home was just always the plan. So it was always stuck in my head. So that was not an option. And then being home was, I actually, let me tell you, moving to the US from here, no culture shock. Moving back from the US to here, all sorts of culture shock. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot how crazy we all are. I forgot. Oh, I forgot this. Yeah. 2 months later, I'm like, oh, I remember. So I'm like, I guess I'm as crazy as everyone else now. But
no,
yeah, no, but we've taken trips back and forth. But I still have family there, and yeah, I mostly miss um Target.
of all things, Target is what.
Yeah, yeah. Not Bloomingdale's, not Neiman, Target.
Well, and you know, I've gone through Nairobi and I've saw the Amazon of Africa, Jumia, and I was
Yes,
just
yes.
like, wait, hold on, this is what I'm talking about. Can you compare? You know, and Amazon's dang near ready to fly drones. I used to live in Seattle just a few months ago. Can you
Mm-hmm.
compare Amazon and Jumia or any other services you know, and have you been able to, you know, have your own beauty line on any of these
Yeah,
outlets?
yeah. So of course, yeah, we sell on Jumia, here, and so they're so efficient. They're so good. I actually I went to do a talk in at Harvard in 2015, and one of my panelists was the founder of Jumia.
Wow.
And it's such, I mean, it was such a necessary situation here. So he's a French guy, but it's like out of Nigeria, like, and also like starting out of Nigeria, that is gangster. And then moving across the continent and all that. So nope, completely very cool. Now let me answer your question in a different way. Starting a company like that here, so amazing that they've flourished. A lot of, so when I in the past few years, there's been a bunch of beauty brands, international ones, that have tried to like sort of like flock the market, I would say, and some have just like come and like fallen flat on their face and ran away because this is such a particular market. It's so intricate, and if you don't localize and if you don't get us right, bye, boy, bye. Like you're not gonna make it. So yeah, Jumia is bomb. And there's a few other platforms like Jumia, smaller but a bunch.
Now what
People
about
people
the
like how you guys shop online all the time. This is It hasn't been normal for us for a long time, and now it's getting very very regular, normal. Yeah.
well, what about the folks in America who say, "Wait, I knew Susie back when I used to share my, you know, whatever with her, in you know, uni or wherever."
Uh,
Um, do you have any plans on being on Amazon so the audience here can purchase?
Absolutely. I would love for that to happen. Um, there's a lot of logistical issues in that. So, nope, it's definitely not no. And it's something I've been trying to work on slowly through the years. It's for sure. I get us from all the states in the States. Give us product, like we need the product we need. I had an incident a few days ago. I was podcasting, and it was a good friend who's from here, but she lives there. And she's like, before the podcast, she's like, "Oh, you're interviewing me, so I have to look good." I'm like, "No, it's fine. You're so pretty. It's fine." She's like, "No, no, 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 no. I'm going to go to the store and then I'm going to video like what I'm finding and what I can buy that you think can work for me. I'm like, fine, fine, fine. She went to a store. I'm not even going to say the name. Nothing. So do you see my skin color?
Yes.
I'm kind of lighter skinned.
Mm.
The color, and she's maybe your color. The color that she had to buy that was the darkest in the entire shop was possibly lighter than my face color.
Wow.
The lipsticks, she's like, I'm like, you need like a nice like chocolatey or like spicy color, like, brownie ready burgundy type of shade. Nothing. Just like bright pinks and bright oranges and like white. There was like white lipstick. So yeah, no. So I get a lot of, and if my friends come here, they stock up and go back with Suzie Beauty product.
So, what is the issue with getting product here? Let's go deep into your issues. We don't like to just get the game, we like to give it. Is it just that it costs so much to ship? What's the issue? Because I'm thinking somebody out there will say, well, let me wholesale it and be the only seller on Amazon.
For me to get it there, you mean?
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, so like it's shipping and the costs, and then where do we house it, and then we've been talking, like the conversations I've had with Amazon, like they're like, yeah, we can warehouse, but then we can't, but then we kind of can, and then the story keeps changing, and then I move on to another thing, and then I leave it alone. So what I would love to have is somebody there who knows, who can be diligent, more diligent than me, who can just like deal with the insides, the intricacies. I even was trying to go on to HSN.
Mm-hmm.
I'd been at a talk in, was it Dubai, when Mindy Grossman was the CEO, and she put me in touch with the team, and I even sent samples, and they're like, okay, they're great. Okay, so we'll talk soon. And then nothing, and crickets. Or I also like moved on to 19 other things, and like no follow up. So some of it is my bad. Some of it is also everyone just like, oh yeah, great, and we need it. And yes, okay. And then I get calls from Norway. I get calls from Paris. I get calls from everywhere. They're like, we don't have product. Get us product. I'm like, okay, find a distributor there who knows what's going on there, and then we figure out how to get it to you. Because I barely contact contract. I keep saying I've barely conquered Kenya.
Wow.
So
Wow.
trying to now conquer the rest of the world, unless the people there are like super diligent, I don't know. I'm a very small person.
So, so I can sometimes hear my audience. So I'm going to ask you to, when we're done, to email me what that, distribution system looks like for you. Is it that, hey, we'll just wholesale it to you, so whatever you do with it, we don't have to worry about it, or we'll give it to you on consignment, and then after so many days, we'll look and, because there,
Sure, we can definitely do that over back and forth. Sure.
yeah, because for our clients, we've put stuff on Amazon. People think that, oh, he can do it, but I even hire Amazon consultants that are now part of my small team,
Mm-hmm.
because you need, I can't be an expert in everything. I like to know a lot.
No,
I can't
exactly.
know everything.
No, it's not possible.
Yeah. So
And
so
that's a very good thing to recognize, and not try to be a jack of all the trades.
No, because in every product, we want to make $1 million, like page 107 says, in 101 ways. And I believe you can thank Euro Monitor, because that's how I believe they got a lot of their information. So Euro Monitor.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I am shook.
So I want to go, since I keep talking about this $1 million evaluation, over $1 million valuation. How do you then deal with, you come back home, people already say, oh, you're coming from America, you're successful, you have money. We all know that there's always a funeral and a baby being born. So there's a goat or a sheep or a cow,
And the wedding. Yeah.
wedding. There's always something to spend. When people see you having this type of success, how do you deal with how giving you are and how to say no? Because that's really the most important thing. How to say no and how to give. How did you
Yeah.
learn that?
Oh no, it's completely picking and choosing, and then like it's and I'm not bawling out of control. Please don't even get that twisted. So no, but if I do have and somebody needs, I'm happy to help. And then for the right reasons. Like it like right now. Okay, so during COVID, I've had a lot of transitions going on because can you imagine? Okay, so which industries suffered the most, right, during this pandemic?
And
It's
host,
travel, it's hospitality, retail. We had to shut down shop for a while. Who wants to be touched in the face? Nobody's wearing lipstick. Like, can you imagine? So yeah, we had to shut down shop. And so I had to like also start to reinvent me. Fortunately, in 2018, I had this vision that I definitely need to start separating Suzie Wokabi, the person, from Suzie Beauty, the brand, and whatever I do under Suzie Wakabi. So Suzie Beauty comes under Suzie Wakabi, and then all the other projects that I want to have because there's a bunch to do. I defined my purpose as I'm I want to be an instrumental part of growing the African beauty industry. So that means very many things. So it's not just yes, Susie Beauty is my baby, and I'm going to continue nurturing her. But there's so much more to do on the continent inside of beauty. Fortunately, I did that, like even mentally. So this thing came along, and I'm like, okay, so shops are closed. What do I do? And then um, so this guy was like, why don't you do a podcast? This is my personal brand manager. I'm like, what? I don't. Okay, I don't know. Whatever. Sure. I listen to some podcasts sometimes. I don't know what that entails. He's like, yeah, yeah, no, for sure. You have to. You have to. I'm like, and he insisted, and I'm like, okay. We started filming in August. So now it's like basically it's a whole another career. So that's under Suzie Wokabi, Suzie Beauty, the Suzie Wokabi podcast. I have another project going. So just yeah, just like reinventing and just investing also in myself. When you're asking me about handouts and giving out whatever, like I have to also think about me and my babies. And so
what about the book? When is the book gonna come out?
we're about to start the process. So obviously sometime next year. Yeah, I have to document this journey because it's been a serious journey.
Yes.
So
Okay.
next year sometime.
Next year, you guys heard it. So if you really want
Yes.
the makeup, and you got to get the book, because the book will show you the struggle and the blueprint,
Yes.
and that's a beautiful thing with the type.
And exactly, and I like that you said that, the struggle, because nobody to think that this is anywhere near an easy process. Entrepreneurship is not for the faint at heart. So um and I will go deep.
And just for the record, it's you when you got your deal to level up, did you have to give a huge portion of your business away? Do you still have, majority of control over it?
So what it was a brand acquisition. So they acquired the entire brand.
Okay.
So like Susie Beauty Limited still exists, but it's a shell of a company because the main asset, which is the brand, is with the Flame Tree Group. They own the trademark and whatever. So while I say they acquired the brand, they acquired me. So yeah, so okay, so we got a chunk of change, and then I've been working under a salary and no HR issues and no legal issues and no finance issues, and I just do my job finally.
How freeing is that? Because to somebody who
Extremely.
extremely, I mean, you literally can do whatever you want, and you can, you can go create whatever you want, and it's like people will listen to this and say, her life, that's what I want to build something that I can sell it so I can live off, whether it's a check, royalties,
Yes,
forever.
there's royalties too. But so my contract was a bit stringent. Like I was not allowed to create products outside of Suzy Beauty. Not allowed to really market or sell other beauty products, but just like concentrate on Suzy Beauty under the group.
Mhm.
But things changed under the COVID circumstances, and my director was like, spread your wings, fly, do whatever you want. And that's why I'm doing like 800 other things as well as still nurturing Suzy Beauty.
Well, I mean, and you might not be able to create, certain beauty products, but I'm sure you go around the world and you're like, wait, I could do that. And if I saw you,
Yeah,
Susie, just listening to your
exactly.
story, if I saw you ballroom dancing or something, I'd say, okay, of course she is. You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
I love it. Yeah. So no, I mean one day I worked in the eyewear designer eyewear industry for a bunch of years while I was freelancing in makeup. My full-time bread and butter job was in designer eyewear. I was product developing for Gucci and Dior and YSL and JLo, and so I do want to, under the Suzie Wokabi brand, definitely have an eyewear line at some point. Um, this podcast is a whole, yeah, it's a whole another career, because I don't even understand. I mean, I can't believe how much work it is, and getting the guests, planning the seasons. I've planned until the end of season 3. We've filmed till like half of season 2, just like to have a bank. We've uploaded up until episode 9 of season 1. So it's a whole another situation. And then yes, what else, and something else, like, and then African beauty, that's part of the job under the Suzy Wakabi brand.
And it's a beautifully shot podcast. I actually was going to open up and say, you guys, this is one of my favorite people in the world. You might have heard me say that before, but I really mean it. I was going to steal one of your lines.
You are so sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to, well, that's a line that you said with one of your friends. And so I was like,
Oh my, oh, Pinky. Yeah.
yeah.
I was like, I've kind of lied to everyone else, but because you are my favorite.
Yeah.
That's my boy, my BFF.
Yes.
And she looked into the camera laughing.
Now with the podcast, when I look at it, it's on YouTube, people, and we'll have a link in the description so you can see everything. But are
Thank you.
you? It looks like you're using Anchor, and so are you monetizing your podcast?
So we're getting into monetizing. Um, so unfortunately, I have a crew around me. This is all like completely foreign to me, so they understand. You are you a millennial? These millennials, you look like a millennial.
I look like one. Let this. You don't see the gray hair. I squeeze. I'm the first. I'm the first batch. There's some disagreement on when a
Oh, you
millennial.
you skidded.
I am in the first batch. I say we created millennials in my age bracket. So yeah.
So, um, what were we saying? Yeah. So these guys around me, they're like, yeah, no, we just edit this like this. Like, I'm like, what are you doing? How are you doing this? Like, so weird, so crazy. So most of it, all I do is what I know how to do, and at my ripe old age, I think I've learned that through the years of entrepreneurship. Like, just don't bother with what you don't know how to do. In the beginning of Susie Beauty, I was trying to do everything.
Yeah.
Learned on the job that stop it. Get the people who know what they're doing. Like even social media, like my social media manager, I put up a post, she puts up the same post. I get like 29 likes. She gets 350 likes. I'm like, okay, so I'm not the one. So you just take care of that. So these guys, the crew behind me, are taking care of all the technical and the uploading. So this is apparently one, maybe the only Kenyan podcast that is video and audio.
Okay.
I don't know if it goes further than Kenya, but then everyone else, it's a pain doing video and audio apparently. So everyone just, it's too much work. Let's just do either video or either audio. And so
Well,
we've been doing both from the beginning.
Well, I think there is definitely a gap in the market for African podcasts. I actually have a group on Facebook. It's slowly growing of African podcasters because I represent influencers. That's one of my positions, right? So late last year, we brought 30 people to Kenya, Nairobi and Mombasa, using one
Oh,
using one of my clients, his fans, his subscribers. And
uh-huh.
I also represent some Kenyan YouTubers. And I tell everyone podcasting pays more day one than even Google and YouTube. And so
Yes, of course. Yeah.
whatever you do on
So
video,
I learned. Yeah.
yeah. And so, the Anchor platform, and that's why I when I'm looking at it, I'm like, it looks like she uses Anchor. If not, I'm gonna tell her she should, because Anchor
I think it, yeah, I do. Yeah.
and there's money there. If you do not, like, if you do video and you do not podcast, you give an opportunity to a millennial like myself who started millennial stuff. You give, I could take your YouTube audio and I could get paid off of it because
Oh my gosh.
there's no law stopping me, and the podcasting company can legally pay me, at least right now. I know my lawyer is going
Wow.
to be like, wait, but what about section 161602? But
Yeah.
nobody's enforcing the law. So, you know,
Aha.
so yeah, I love that you're doing that. Now, you have so many
Okay, great.
you have so many talented people in Nairobi, like Olive from Lion's Den, and
Yes.
people who do TV at K24 and Switch. Have you
Yes.
reached out to them to say, I want to take my podcast and put it on TV?
I haven't done that yet. But then nothing's out of off the tray. Like, so this is the beginning, and that's definitely an option. um I've been asked to do it live, um like get into a studio and live podcast and then upload after. That's another option. Like, so I'm like, oh my god, this is a whole nother everything. So trying to strategize properly and make it work as good as it can. But yes, that is not no.
Awesome, awesome. Well, you guys, if you want to get out there, you want to come on a podcast, I'm going to give a special shout out to the sometimes controversial group, the Sailors out in Kenya. Look, Susie can come have after your 15 minutes is up, yeah, off one song. I won't say the name of the song because Susie's ears. She might be like, how do you know these things? But,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, so podcasting, you're having fun doing it. The book is coming.
Yeah.
With
Yes.
all the success that you're having, what is a community give back that you are doing or that you want to do in the future?
Oh, it's always going to be mentorship for sure. Like what I've been doing a bunch of is like talks to kids. Like even they'll ask me, I never say no to that. And I do I was saying, like last year, that year before, I'm not doing any non-paid talks anymore. I've talked for 10 years, and like I'm not talking without like I can't be your speaker or your panelist, and your people are paying to enter your whatever, and you're not paying me.
Mhm.
So I stopped. I didn't stop doing that. I made it happen a little bit, but this, I like when kids come into it, I never say no. So I actually have like two or three in the next 2 weeks. Just mentoring, talking about entrepreneurship journey, um, answering their questions. Yeah, so that's important to me. And then, in terms of, I don't know if this will make sense, but I, my retirement plan, I plan to open an animal shelter because I've been in love with cats since I was born. But like there's so many strays out there, like whatever. So I will use my resources to open a shelter for them, and keep them and feed them and keep them safe and clean and happy.
No,
So that's one of my plans for sure.
that's a beautiful, you got to have an exit plan or retirement plan. For some reason, when you said, an animal shelter, I'm thinking of like, sure, you could do something like that in the Westlands, but I think that in Kenya, for the non-governmental land near Kibera, people should
Yes.
invest because
Yes.
they're going to gentrify that place eventually, just like they've done the whole world. You go to Soweto now, you see
Yes.
Chinese and white people, and you're like, what part of Soweto is this? You go to
True.
Brixton in London,
True,
the
true, true,
same thing.
true. Even
Yeah.
here, like in I live in Lavington. I don't know if you know it. And then the slum next door is Kawangware, but there's a lot of like teachers who teach in the fancy schools around, who you see a lot of like white people walking around from there, because well, of course, like rent is so much more affordable. They've created better housing. So yeah, so things are changing.
When the Mzungu moves in and you see whatever the equivalent of the Starbucks, um,
Yeah.
you have been gentrified. So I
Yes.
definitely,
If a Java goes into there, we're golden.
golden. So you have a lot on your plate,
I
and
do.
have you got your children involved at all in the business?
So they've known the business since they were born, because they were born into it, literally.
Mhm.
There was one time my 3-year-old, my firstborn, who's now 10, when he was 3, he's like, "Mommy, I know your name." I'm like, "What? What's my name?" "It's not Mom. It's Susie Beauty." I'm like, "Yes, Papa. Good job." And then I would be like doing makeovers with them, like holding them as a. Each of them traveled with me when they were 6 months old. Maceo, who's my 10-year-old, went with me to Addis to do a runway show. Nate went with me to North Carolina when he was 6 months old to give a talk to the Zawadi Foundation girls. So they've always known like what all I do. I would hope that in the future they're going to be like Ronald and Leonard Lauder. Because I am Estee Lauder. And then they'll run with the game. So if you see my podcast, they were in my very first episode with my husband. I insisted on having them on there, and they proudly wear my merch everywhere they go. They're like, "Yeah, my mom has a podcast. My mom has a podcast." So they're aware, very aware of all that's going on. So when they're what when does child labor when is child labor allowed to start?
I don't know. I have to ask the Chinese because their children get involved early. So I tell my
Yeah.
children, we're not doing anything new. When I need you, like my 10-year old helped me set up my setup that I have here this morning, which isn't a big thing, but I need
Oh,
you
no,
to
no.
be involved.
Oh, I understand. So the other day I needed to make, so remember I said I separated Suzie Wokabi from Suzie Beauty. I wanted to make a personal logo, just SNW. Who did it? It's him, the 10-year-old. He did it. He's like, I'm like, I need a logo. He's like, Mom, come, sit. Went on the thing, did the thing. I paid a little bit of money and I have a beautiful logo that he created. So he'll always be able to say that.
Awesome. I love to hear that. So, they have the option to work for the company and never have to fill out a job application or beg
Yeah,
somebody for a job,
exactly. Well, right now they're both obsessed with soccer, so they both want to think they're going to be soccer players. Like Maceo asks me if I called him Maceo because of Messi, and so no, I didn't do that. So they both want to. They're like, I'll play in I'll do Barcelona. Like I'll do. But like you think you're just going to pick and choose? No, that's a
yeah.
whole other situation. So
Well,
it's
well,
gonna be an interesting journey.
if they ever get to the point where they're like, you know what, I'm not good enough in soccer, all they have to do is come to America where they'll be stars. And, Americans, I mean, it's not the most popular sport, nor are we the best at it. But
Right.
you come to America, I've seen it where folks have, my wife actually jumped on the
Huh.
college team and she
Uh-huh.
had never played organized soccer, but they're like, oh, wait, you're good. And she was just doing it for, some scholarship money. Um,
Wow.
but
See?
it's in her genes, though. Her mother played for the first
True.
women's team in Cameroon, and it's just
Wow.
in DNA.
See? Options, options, options.
Yeah, yeah. So tell them, say, America, it's kind of an armpit, but if you really want to
Yeah.
go play soccer, you can go find a team you can just walk on.
Exactly, exactly.
So if you would leave the people with, just some advice, maybe, some tips that help you going, daily routine, whatever can leave the people with, leave them with some game.
So listen, guys. So um if you are interested, willing, or able to enter entrepreneurship, I'm gonna give you my three P's. That if you don't have these, like don't bother. Passion, like completely be able to eat, live, and breathe whatever you're choosing to do, because that's what's going to get you out of bed every day to keep going, because there's nothing easy about it. Passion, patience, perseverance, and then you will get there with those three P's. And Yeah, and then just like don't be a copycat if you're trying to enter entrepreneurship. Be authentic as you can. Um, and then what else? I think that's my parting shots for inside of entrepreneurship. And then love life and be positive. And we're all living in these wild times together. So let's keep doing what we can with each other and keep safe and keep clean. We're actually on our we're going through in Kenya, we're going through a new phase of the madness. apparently. So when it's not coming to an end very soon. So just if you need to reinvent yourself a little bit, do so. And just, yeah, keep yourself happy. Happy, happy, happy.
Well, you guys have gotten the game. Make sure you visit Suzie's website and her podcast. Again, links will be in the description box. Make sure to also like, share, subscribe, support this show because you've just got the game. Thank you, Suzie, for being on.
Thank you so much for having me. It was awesome.